Hello, drag racing fan. Oh, I know right now it looks very dark. We'll try to get that worked out in just a moment or two. But hey, we've put it in the pre-stage lights. We're staged up. Yellow's dropped. No red here. We're green for Between the Slicks Live. We have got a great show lined up for you tonight. We'll just call it PDRA night. This past weekend, the PDRA wrapped up the summer shootout at Virginia Motorsports Park, and we're going to be speaking with the winner in Extreme Pro Stock, J.R. Carr, and the winner in Pro Boost, Kevin Rivenbark. We're going to be speaking with them tonight. J.R. Carr will be up first, then we will speak with Kevin. And as you know, before we get into our guests tonight, we're going to be talking a little bit of drag racing, some of the most recent news, and whatever you might want to discuss. So be sure to put in the comment section whatever you might like to talk about, whatever you might want to put forward to me, and we talk drag racing tonight and see what is all going on in the world of drag racing out there as I'm trying to lighten up the image here. We'll bring it back to me and see if that's any better. No, that got worse. Well, we'll be working on that through the night. I can already tell that. So, folks, as I tried to bring it into the light, wow, folks, drag racing this past weekend. Great competition. Hey, Sam, how you doing? Everything Nitro, everything PDRA. Yes, everything PDRA tonight. What great competition we saw in the PDRA. Congratulations to Jim Halsey, J.R. Carr, Kevin Rivenbark, and Darrell Stewart in Pro 632. But I would say the story that is dominating the drag racing world has to be Terry Totten and his Top Fuel dragster, and Joey Haas at the wheel. That story, Joey Haas getting it done. Ladies and gentlemen, it's something that as I was following the news Sunday, and mind you, the PDRA doesn't normally, well, I say it's not typically scheduled to race on Sunday. They scheduled a race on Saturday, but I have, in my time covering the PDRA, I've never experienced a race weekend without rain at some point, and we're going to talk to J.R. Carr about that because it was not that long after the Mountain Motor Pro Stock cars, the Extreme Pro Stock cars ran, that the bottom dropped on Virginia Motorsports Park, and things were delayed to Sunday. But watching the posts Sunday, trying to keep my eye on what was going on at Mile High, wow. It was exciting to see the little news here and there that Joey Haas and the Terry Totten crew, that they were having the day that they put themselves in motion to have. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what's critical too. I think a lot of individuals, they will look at a team like Terry Totten, they would look at a driver like Joey Haas, and they are going to say, wow, what a lucky day. No, I don't think it was a lucky day. I think it was a day that Terry Totten has prepared himself for. I think it was a day that Joey Haas had prepared himself for. Though he is a rookie in the NHRA Top Fuel world, look, Joey Haas is not a rookie. Joey Haas has been around Nitro all of his life. He knows how to wrench on those cars. He knows how to crew on those cars. He knows how to drive nostalgia funny cars. He knows how to, folks, Joey Haas can drive a front engine Top Fuel dragster, a modern front engine Top Fuel dragster. Do you know That is one of the most challenging nitro vehicles out there right now to pilot, and Joey Haas can do it. I'm not shocked by Joey Haas and Terry Totten and crew having such an outstanding day. They earned it. I believe they deserved it. And what a great story it is in the world of NHRA drag racing. And what a great story it is for drag racing. And I hope drag racing will continue to wave the banner of what Joey Haas and Terry Totten were able to do. Again, they didn't even take the heads off the whole entire day. Did you see Joey's video he put out Monday or Tuesday on the spark plugs? The spark plugs from one of the runs, you could put them back in and run them again. Unheard of in a nitro car currently. Folks, we need to play that up. The world needs to know about it. Because right now, F1, you're not going out there as an underdog and doing anything. Right now, NASCAR, more than likely as an underdog, about as good as you're going to get is start and park. NHRA drag racing, the premier level of drag racing in the world for Top Fuel, and a team that the car owner, who can drive that car as well, the team owner is a plumber from Omaha, Nebraska, and an individual that has been driving drag cars all his life, and currently, we'll say, the groundskeeper to the event center that him and his wife have in Tennessee, are able to go out there and beat professional drivers and professional teams like Don Schumacher Racing, Clay Millican, Scott Palmer, only in drag racing. Only in drag racing. And that is a cool deal. Well, folks, I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll come back to your questions, and we'll keep discussing a little bit more on the world of drag racing, and I'm going to try to figure out how to lighten up the scene so it doesn't look like I'm in a noir at the moment. So we'll try to figure that out right after this break from Power Built Tools. Power Built Tools exemplifies innovation in the tool industry. From hand tools, power tools, and even tool storage. Check out powerbuilt.com for Power Built Tools. And remember, use promo code MMR15 for 15% off at purchase. And I did not make it any better. Wow, folks, sorry that I've got it so dark. I'm still trying to figure out here in the office what I need to do for it to look right. And I'm using a different web camera, so sorry for how it looks. I'll keep working on it. Thought I had it figured out compared to last week. Mikey, he chimes in. Best part was the old school day, not taking the heads off all day. Yeah, that was cool, man. Sam chimes in. He says, it sure was a crazy weekend at Bandamere. I haven't been able to watch as much qualifying as I used to. I was able to watch some last weekend, but I realized that they didn't do primetime Friday night. Have they been doing previous race this year? I think with more and more races being at 100% capacity, it'd be cool to see it again. Do you think they will bring it back? I think in time, yes, they are going to bring it back. I think that is the plan, but they're slowly getting back to normal for NHRA drag racing and for the program. I hope it is a part of the program. I hope they even make it bigger and better and it comes back fully. So, yes, I believe it will come back and better than ever, I hope, is the case. So, yes, expect that prime time Friday event with NHRA definitely to come back. Mikey chimes in again, and Terry leaning on it as Clay was working, like saying, we're ready, come get some. Yeah, that was a cool moment, Mikey, what you're talking about. Terry Totten was waiting on Clay Milliken and that team to get it cranked up, and he's just leaning on the car, waiting as they're sitting there idling. And it kind of went back. I interviewed Joey Tuesday night on Competition Plus Power Hour, and he mentioned, they've had some of those issues, and it happened with Tony Schumacher in Texas. They started much earlier. Tony Schumacher and crew started later, and they even had the situation where it burned maybe a gallon, 2 more gallons of fuel than what normally it would have. And Joey picked up the wheels pretty high. It went into a serious wheel stand for a top fueler these days. So Terry, he just waiting, cool, calm, collected. He knows what they're going to go up there and go do, and they got the job done. Doug Carr says they did the impossible and showed the world just how to do it. Great job, Terry and team. Yes, sir. And look, they showed that, it's not the impossible. It is possible. You can go out there and do it this way, do it that way in the world of NHRA drag racing. And it brings up the argument, what in fuel needs to be done to make these cars more survivable, and therefore more survivable makes them less expensive to run, in fact. We're not going to dive into that argument right now. There's a lot of theories. There's a lot of people that will say, we need to do this. We need to do that. This is what we ought to do. And definitely, we've got to raise the marketing budgets within drag racing. That's got to happen somehow. We got to have bigger players and bigger partners pushing drag racing forward, from title sponsors to the sponsors on the teams. But we also have got to figure out, how can the teams have performance and not keep diving into the pocketbook just to have performance? Because we are in a situation right now, if you want to seriously perform, you are probably going to be tearing stuff up. That's what is probably going to be happening, and that seems to be the case in modern nitro drag racing. Modern Pro Mod. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about modern Pro Mod for just a few moments. Very quickly, Mikey, I'll bring up your question. Do you think that the NHRA still needs to get a hold of the Pro Charger Pro Mods? Well, I cannot dive into that fully and give an answer satisfactory to what I think a Justin Bonds, I think Mark Caruso, and others have mentioned on their shows. Look, let's say something about the Pro Charger that they have figured out. And we'll talk to Kevin Rivenbark about this later, because they're running a Pro Charge car. Look at the PDRA right now. It is extremely competitive in Pro Boost, and it's not all Pro Charger. Look at the final round. You had what would be considered a conventional combination against a Pro Charger. And I think what's happening right now is you got a lot of monkey see, monkey do, for one. But remember, everything I have heard is that the maintenance on the Pro Charger is a whole lot less compared to anything else. What did I just say? It's a whole lot less than anything else. That's what I've been told. The maintenance is drastically different. Well, less maintenance. Who doesn't want that? If you can have the performance and have less maintenance, why not? Why not? Do I think they need to work it out? Do I think they need to work it out where they make other combinations more competitive? I don't know right now. And look, Denver, you cannot go off of Denver. And I think Mark Caruso and others made a good argument. You go into Denver and you made another rule change about going back to the shifter situation. You can go back to automatic. And yeah, I don't know. Denver's not the best place to go off of. Let's see through the rest of the year. And let me also say that. Why is it after 1, 2, 3 races, everybody wants to make changes? Why is it? Well, let's see if the other combinations can catch up. Maybe there's extra there. It's a possibility. Why not just see? And if you have a combination just whacks the field for an entire year, you probably do have a problem and you need to rein it in. So all I'm saying, just wait. Just wait. I know a lot of folks, they are up in arms about the Pro Charger situation, but if I'm not mistaken, you still got Stevie Fast out there performing well. Sure, he did not qualify for the Gator Nationals, but then later on, he's in a final round at Atlanta. If I'm not mistaken, he was in the final round at Denver, though I wasn't able to keep up with Denver as closely as I wanted to. Joey's story was dominating the headlines, but just wait. Let's see what James has got to say. James, happy race weekend, MMR. I have to admit, Top Fuel has just depressed me anymore this season, except Antron's win at Atlanta. Well, man, I don't know why it would be depressing. It hadn't depressed me. If it's depressed you, I'm sorry, man. I think drag racing has had some exceptional, great storylines within the NHRA ranks and in Top Fuel. I will say this. It does fascinate me. It does fascinate me. You've got that quote in the beginning of Patton. He's there on the stage, the American flag behind him, and he's in his parade regalia, and he quotes, "Americans love a winner." I don't think we do. We seem to love the underdog, because if we loved the winners, everybody would be in love with what Steve Torrence is doing right now, because what Steve Torrence and company with Richard Hogan, the Laganas, what they're doing is impressive. And yet nobody is really celebrating it, I don't think. Why is that? I don't know. Maybe it's the way we look at Steve and his demeanor. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's because of a perception that Steve is just a rich kid and everything's been handed to him. I don't know. I'm not saying that that's the case. I don't know what it is, but I don't think Americans actually love a winner. It seems like we have a love affair with the underdog. And if we didn't have a countdown in NHRA Top Fuel, the storyline would basically be that Torrence is going to sew up this championship and make a statement for one of the greatest runs in Nitro ever, up there with Tony Schumacher or Don Garlits or anyone else. It remains to be seen, because you've got the countdown, and that's going to adjust everything. But what an impressive regular season run they already have. Mikey, there's an interview Wes did with Dillard at Lights out a few years ago about the maintenance on the Pro Charger cars. Yeah, and look, I've talked I talked last year, James Strickland, less maintenance. They're impressed with it, and they like it because of that. But Stevie and KTR, in my opinion, on a different level. Well, I think that's true. And I would argue, Mikey, why does everybody else have to be at the KTR level? If Stevie and KTR have figured something out and they're at a level, why do we knock guys that figure out and innovate? There is something to be said about parity, but are we going to always grade on the curve in drag racing? I don't hear anybody saying anything about let's change the rules in Pro Nitrous because of Jim Halsey. But it's a race for second right now. Kudos to Jim Halsey and to Brandon Schweitzer for what they've got done. By the way, it's all because of the skirt. You can see that in my Pro Nitrous elimination video on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel. We show that it's all because of the skirt. That's what they said. That's why they're doing so well. No, it's not because of the skirt. It may be what's underneath the skirt on the back of that car. But honestly, if guys are doing well, let's not be quick let's not be quick to change the playing field just because guys are doing well. Yes, there's got to be a competitive level, and I don't envy the NHRA. I don't envy the PDRA in having to make decisions on how do we get this combination to work with this combination. And honestly, Mikey, anyone else out there, I don't think the conversation is ProCharger. What do we got to do to get turbos back in? And I'm not a turbo fan. I am not a turbo fan, but what do we got to do to get turbos back into the game? Very quickly, James, it's not really because of Torrance's domination, just the same deal of where I miss having a couple of my favorites out there now. Yes, man, definitely a different playing field out there right now in NHRA Top Fuel. Before we go to our first guest, J.R. Carr, we got to bring him on very quickly. Let me talk about Pro Mod Body Styles. Boom! Man, what a beautiful looking racing machine. Craig Sullivan's 49 Mercury. Images, details were released today about this ride. I believe he's going to be competing in the NMCA. And I love it. I love it. Look, I grew up watching Willis Pro Mods, a Lamborghini Pro Mod, Beretta Pro Mods, with Camaro Pro Mods. And right now, there's not a whole lot of diversity in the field, which I'm looking forward to talking to Kevin Rivenbark about that. He is in a 69 Camaro that is ProCharge, so it's definitely going to be interesting to hear his thoughts on the very situation with bodies. But I appreciate someone bringing out such a beautiful car. And I oftentimes have people comment on my videos on YouTube. I can't change anything about how many cars showed up that are different or not. But they're all, oh, it's just Pro Camaro, Pro Camaro, Pro Camaro, Pro Camaro. Well, why is that? It's because the aerodynamics on those cars have been figured out. That's why. And the competitors don't want to have to fight over something to have an edge over their competition, because we are talking about people, ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, they want to win. And they don't just want to win best looking car. They want to win the entire race while winning best looking car. Keep that in mind. So maybe call up one of those race car companies and ask them to come up with an aerodynamically sound Studebaker. I don't know, whatever. Mercury. Going to buy me a Mercury and drive it up and down the road, as Alan Jackson would say. Well, folks, look, we're going to take a break. I'm going to try to fix this lighting where I am not in the dark. I've messed that all up tonight, and we're going to bring on our first guest of the night, J.R. Carr, the winner in Extreme Pro Stock in PDRA competition at the Summer Shootout. Right after this break, a word from Hero Soap Company. Hero Soap Company is a veteran-owned establishment that produces all-natural, essential oils infused soap that is sold with a portion of the proceeds supporting other veteran groups. Hero Soap Company. Heroes supporting heroes. Be a hero yourself and buy a bar and let freedom clean. All right. Well, we're going to bring JR on in just a moment. He is there in studio, and we'll wait for him to get seated, and then we're going to bring him in. I still have not figured out this lighting issue. Sorry, guys. We will work on that. JR, can you hear me? Uh-oh.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, yep, there we go. I can hear you. You can hear me.
The headphones, the microphones, nothing's working too good, but we'll do the best we can.
All right. Well, hey, as long as you can hear me. Hey, I've got the lighting issue going on. I don't know what's going on with me. I thought I had it figured out last week, and now I've definitely got to work out something and change something in the lighting department. So, JR, man, look, congratulations once again to you and your team. And we'll start out with, well, were you beginning to take therapy and go to a psychiatrist and, sit down on the shrink's couch because look, everybody will say you've got the baddest hot rod out there. Nobody else in Extreme Pro Stock has got the hot rod you got. And you've proven that with #1 qualifying attempts every race. Yet race day until this past weekend has not been that good. So where was your mind, man?
Well, I think I was putting my helmet on sideways, maybe backwards, because that's about how I drove on race day. I drove really good during qualifying, and race day I couldn't buy a decent light for anything. And honestly, I was trying way too hard. Put a lot of pressure on myself, which I'm usually pretty good under pressure, but it just having the baddest hot rod, knowing I'm supposed to win all the time, having Frank, who is pretty damn intense, and then not wanting to let anybody down. That's all I did do is let us all down. So I decided that I was going to make it fun again, take the pressure off me, and just drive the car like an old farm truck going down a gravel road. So obviously that worked, and I'm gonna try to do the same thing next week, and just it's a gravel road. Let's go.
Well, talk to me about that hot rod. What chassis year model is it? Who built the car? How long have you had it now? And who's powering? Who made the power plant in it? I know that's very important for you guys in Mountain Motor Pro Stock. So give us the details on that Camaro of yours.
Okay, yeah, that's where the audio problem is right there. So I heard you say talk about the hot rod and the chassis. So hopefully that's what you're asking.
Yes.
Okay. All right. RJ race car last year, brand new. It goes down hot track, cold track. Every little 2 points of gear ratio, it shows what it's doing exactly what Frank wants it to do. Take 2 grams off, it does exactly. So with him being such a great tuner, then that car responding to every little thing, it's just been almost flawless and fun to drive. It drives really nice. Probably the nicest driving car I've ever had. You get a really hot track and we get a little aggressive or whatever. It'll move around on you and it'll, keep your eyes open for sure. But it's just a well balanced car. Great power from Frank, and then of course all of our components to go along with it. It's just everything together. It's the full package.
Cool deal, man. It's definitely been a good car for you. And look, things are very, very interesting at this point in PDRA Extreme Pro Stock with your win. In fact, as I was looking at points earlier, looking at them now, Chris Powers is on top with 1,690 points. Johnny Placino second right now, 1,490 points. But you jumped up to third now with 1,205 points, and the points that you incurred through all those number one qualifying positions, you've got a mathematical shot now. You're there. It's not out of the realm of possibility if you can take off with it through the rest of the year for you to go into the final race and have a shot at it, man.
Yeah, you just told me what the numbers were. I knew we jumped up quite a bit. I just wanted some round wins, let alone a race win. But the championship, that's a different deal. I don't make predictions. I don't say who's going to do what. If we can make the scoreboard happy on a continual basis, we're going to do good. There's no doubt. And back to pressure on me. So I got to keep that off of me and just drive the car like I know how to do. And, it's tough for me looking back and, it's like, this is the season just started for me. Everything else was just, I shouldn't have been in the car, I guess. That's how bad it was. And it's embarrassing. It's hurts your pride, whatever. But, I'm lucky I get to do it. I'm very fortunate, the crew I have, my wife who stands behind me no matter what. Frank, yeah, I'm sure he'd like to strangle me a couple of times, but he's more of a friend than he is a crew chief. So, we're never going to let racing come between us. And that's how our whole group is. We're very tight knit, and we can pick on each other, but we watch out for each other too. It's not pointing the fingers. Hell, nobody has to point the finger. I know I was the one with my foot on the clutch. So I'm smart enough to know where the weak link was. And my intentions are just to continue with what we did and do the best I can do. And you know what? Just like Johnny Placino, if he'd have cut a 0.5 light, I'd been going home. So, and he can do it. And other guys, I mean, there isn't, if you take one guy lightly, which I never do, you're going home. I can assure you. I don't care what position they qualified in or who they are.
JR, with all that being said, you mentioned being fortunate. Your group is doing it well, literally from the whole other side of the country. You're based out of Washington, if I have heard everything correctly. So being based on the West Coast, and you're racing in what in essence is predominantly an East Coast sanctioning body in the PDRA, what are the logistics like? Like, where does this car stay? Does it go back all the way to Washington? You keep it on the East Coast? What is the game plan week to week, race to race for your team?
Okay, it cut out again, so I'm going to try these.
Okay.
I'm going to see if I can hear you better with these. But I heard
All right.
the West Coast, and I'm traveling, and what's that like, and all that fun stuff. That was the question? I'm sorry, but
that's right.
You're cutting out, so it's terrible, with this damn COVID and wearing a mask, and we travel with our little dog, and there's no fast way to get East Coast, West Coast, vice versa. You just got to go with it. It's definitely the least amount of fun we have getting over there, but I'm committed, and this class deserves a lot of attention. It deserves to grow. Unfortunately, it seems like it's been a secret how cool these cars are and affordable compared to some other classes, and we're growing. There's going to be 5 new cars out between now and middle of next year, if not more. A lot of interest, and it should be there. A lot of excitement. It's there right now. It's growing. You can see it. You can hear it. And I don't think there's another class growing as much as ours is.
Yeah, it's going to be a cool deal to see that many more cars out there racing routinely. And I'm looking forward to see that. Yeah, the 16 car fields in Mountain Motor Pro Stock is definitely going to be a good thing to see. Well, JR, look, I'm going to let you get plugged in and see if all the headphones can get worked out. And I'm going to bring up your first round matchup, and we'll talk about round 1 at the summer shootout.
J.R. Carr lights the pre-stage ball first. Robert Patrick is going to follow. Fastest Robert Patrick has been at 6:21 down the East Mile Race Course. J.R. Carr, 4:17, 174 miles an hour.
JR, round 1 win there over the Mustang in the far lane. And 4:17, wow, Virginia Motorsports Park was hot on Saturday. So for you, Frank, the team, what were the apprehensions going into round 1? What were the thoughts on getting that car down the track?
It definitely was hot, really hot. And, Robert came out with a brand new car, first time out. And the thing is, he's one heck of a racer. He's got good equipment, good crew. I don't care if the car had never been down the track. If you take him lightly, you're going home. So, I mean, they needed a couple more laps, I'm sure. And if they tried to test earlier in the week, and quite honestly, they'd have been dangerous if they'd have got those couple laps. And he's a racer, and watch out for him. I can assure you, he's gonna mix it up and make it fun for everybody. And I mean, beautiful car, man. What a beautiful car, and a great addition to our class to be back out. He's got a lot of pro stock experience in 500-inch, 800-inch, and a lot of success. And trust me, I didn't take him lightly. I mean, if I went home one more time, I probably would have tried to find a therapist, because he's there. He's going to be really good. Excited to see him back.
Yeah, man. I know on shows like this, shows that Wes Buck does, the show that I do on Tuesday Night, Competition Plus Power Hour, anytime Mountain Motor Pro Stock was brought up, it's like, hey, we know it's going to happen. J.R. Carr has got to win. It's got to happen with the car that he's got. And we're just, I mean, the pits, everybody just like, what? And you got it done finally. And the monkey's off your back now. And I'm sure it's going to be like a golfer. You know, golfers, I know me, every time I'd go to the driving range, I feel like, man, I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. And then I get up to the tee box and it goes nowhere. And I'm slicing. I'm out in the rough and I can't get on the green. But if I was able to get on the green during a round of golf, I golfed better. Well, hey, you got the hole in one, and definitely I imagine the driving is going to be much better after this. The mind's right. And look, after round one, round two worked out. You had a bye. Let's take a look at it.
Out there, we're trying to get as much done as we possibly can with what the weather will allow. The last thing we want is for everybody to be stuck in the staging lanes in a rainstorm. So we're trying to do it as quickly as we possibly can. We get through our 632 competitors. Sound good as soon as the bus starting line. He goes on for 5:26 at 107 miles an hour.
All right, JR, so was that planned? And talk to me about, we had a massive storm rolling in. I mean, was there a bit of a moment for you to, you know, think to yourself, be like, you know what, I might want to have my clutch foot ready to put it in if I get a downpour while I'm on this run. So talk to me about rolling down off into the storm.
Man, I don't know what it is with your audio. It's probably, I've got good connection here, but I know we're talking about second round and I had a bye. That was the first bye I've ever had in my life. And the storms were coming and all that stuff. It was crazy, hurrying and this and that, and just missed it. Luckily it was a bye. Only I could have a screwed up bye run. So I just chalk it up for experience and probably never get a bye again. And, you know, that's okay too.
Well, after this weekend, you never know. I mean, you having more buys, it may very well come. And I'm surprised, you know, interesting that you haven't had more, with it being so many times that you have qualified number one. It just hasn't worked your way. So let's take a look into the semifinals from the tower of Virginia Motorsports Park, going up against Machine Gun Monty.
Now it's time to sell the semifinal matchup. Supercross, one of the weapons. Extreme Road.com. Stop on y'all. The largest first ever in the history of PDRA starting out to win the weekend is well above that now. Most drivers, those top cars.
All right, past John Montecavo. So talk to me about racing John. John has been out there a long time. He's a champion in the class. Do you prepare yourself any differently depending on who you're going up against? Or are you one of those individuals, hey, I'm going to race my race. I'm going to do what I got to do in my lane. Doesn't matter who is in the lane next to me.
I do not. I do not prepare any different for anybody else. It's my lane. You start getting into that, in my mind, at least, I think you overthink it and make it worse. I respect everybody. Obviously, John, you know, geez, he's got so many laps, he probably could do it blindfolded, but you know, everybody else talks about that quite a bit. I kind of just don't listen, and it doesn't matter who, you know. I owe John, geez, he tore me up the first two races, and but I don't look at it that way. I just, if I do my job and I do a good job and I get beat, it doesn't matter who it is. If I do a good job and win, that's what I'm supposed to do. So I don't I don't get into all that. I don't get into the talking about this or that. If I mean, you get an instant, hell, I get a report card before you even, get the car shut down. So it's all there. The numbers speak for themselves. The scoreboard talks for itself. All that other stuff, I don't participate. Never have, never will. You go out there and talk like, I mean, I guess I could deserve to try. Well, I got the best car in the world right now. Yeah, but haven't had the best driver, so it really doesn't matter. So, it all goes hand in hand, and you take it a day at a time and just do the best you can, and try to be good to everybody, and leave it at that.
Well, as Mikey points out, you drove that thing on that pass, the comment he puts in. Talk to me about the challenges of driving these pro stock cars. They are, everything I hear, they are not easy to drive. They are a handful, in fact, when they do not stay in the groove and they want to move around. And I've heard with the torque that you all have with the mountain motor cars that they definitely want to move around. So talk to me about the challenges of driving them, and in that situation, making sure you stay in your lane, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you've seen it. There's been last couple of years, there's cars swapping lanes, and that's a little nerve wracking. They're I don't want to say they're unpredictable, but they are a handful. They're a handful when everything is almost perfect. I mean, you on a good track, good day, 3.2 Gs when you let the clutch out, and first gear, the front end's up. Second gear, it sometimes will raise it higher, and third gear will keep it there part of the time. I mean, it just depends on the track and the day and all that, and of course the car setup. But we've seen the wheels up for 400 feet. Well, out of 660, you better have a good car, because otherwise it isn't going down the track. So they're a handful without any question. If you don't respect that car, you're going to end up on your roof. Hopefully, and if that happens to somebody, they don't hurt someone else or tear up a bunch of stuff or, whatever. But no, anybody that says they're not a handful has never drove one, because they are. And, there's no traction control, no nothing. I mean, it's carburetors and a bunch of cubic inches and a clutch. So, hell, that's better than a roller coaster ride. But they're a handful, and it's a lot just to drive one.
All right, JR, let's take a look at the final round against Johnny Placino. He's got the number 1 on the side. I'm sure you want to take that away this year in 2021. Big matchup for Johnny. He took out Chris Powers. He takes you out, get the win, continues to advance in the points. But you're the winner from the summer shootout. So let's take a look at the pass itself.
Leaving the starting line next to the fourth uptake of Johnny Placino. Placino is known for getting hole shots. He's known for letting the 3 down in last round. He took away lane choice from J.R. Carr. J.R. Carr righteous on green track, where he has not made a run today. From the top wall, and the best time to take the 3 down. And the horsepower goes to J.R. Carr. 4:09 beats a 4:10. It's 0:09 at the finish line.
Man, what a good drag race that was. What a good drag race that was. And I think just sets up what we can look forward to the rest of the year in PDRA Extreme Pro Stock competition. Talk to me in particular about that round, going up against Johnny and getting the win, man.
Well, I'd say we talk about how you handle different drivers. I knew without any question that if I didn't drive really good and probably the best I drove all year, I was going home. It wasn't even a question. But I didn't dwell on that, because then you start questioning and you start doubting yourself, and and then you play out, well, what if I don't win? And it's, then it's a disaster, right? So it snowballs. But I just said, we're going to go drive. We're going to get down this track, and I'm going to do everything I can to win this race. And kind of changed my attitude, got my adrenaline up a little bit, and, drove really good. And, but you have to, because that kid there, man, I'll tell you what, I grew up on the farm, and he's a hardworking kid, and he's been busy his whole life too, but he's been around race cars forever, and he lives and breathes that stuff, and it shows. It definitely shows. So definitely take Johnny serious, and I don't care who you are, because you'll be wishing you did if you didn't.
We had a fan email a question, Jeffrey Harvey. He asks, "Hey, JR, how important is Frank Meatball in making sure you are ready to roll come race time?" So talk to me about Frank's importance in the team, and what's it like having an individual like that in your corner?
Frank is, boy, he's it's hard to explain, I guess. The guy is one of the best tuners, engine builders, drivers, period. And when you can do all of that, he knows what gear ratio. I mean, he knows everything. And he's the Bob Glidden, Warren Johnson of today in Mountain Motor Pro Stock, without a doubt. And let me tell you what, he's pretty good at 500-inch too. So he is the program. I'm on the West Coast. He's on the East Coast. He works in the shop all the time. I don't see the car until I come to the track. And that's kind of, I think, in my defense a little bit. If I could have my hands on the car a little bit more, maybe run a little bit more, that would help me personally. But Frank is the program. That's what it is. I mean, they can say it's JR Carr, and yeah, I'm a part of it, but I'm a smaller part of it than he is. So, and he doesn't miss anything, and he is always looking for every little tiny detail of everything. And we have yet to this day missed a round because we weren't prepared with the car. We just haven't. We might have missed a test session, some fluke deal here or there, but we have not missed a round because the car wasn't ready. So I think after 11 years, that says quite a bit.
That is one heck of a run in that type of situation. So Darrell Kraft, he wants to know, on average, what does a Mountain Motor Pro Stock budget look like for a season of competition? And I think oftentimes it will be thrown out that the budget for the 500 cousins is more than for the Mountain Motor Pro Stock guys. But is that true? And what does it actually look like?
That's a math equation. That is I can assure you that it's cheaper. I think it's cheaper around Mountain Motor Pro Stock than any other pro class. I don't compare notes with everybody, and I don't ask those types of questions to other guys, but we all know the numbers somewhat close. Mountain Motor Pro Stock is the most efficient pro class you can run as far as cost. You can buy a Rick Jones car, a Sonny's motor, Causey motor, Liberty transmission, Lenco transmission, and go to the track. I mean, there's your budget. Cost wise, it's by the time you get to the track and do all those things, it's 10 grand a race. Your motor program is going to be above that. Some guys have other guys do them, some guys do them themselves. So I don't know what the other guys spend, but and then I know what some of the other guys spend, and I can assure you it's more than we're doing. So it's a little relative, but and even in 500-inch, it's come down a lot compared to back in the day when I started over there. It's a lot cheaper and more efficient, and they're getting more runs out of the motors. Both pro stock classes, if you're going to run, right now is the time to do it, because it's never been more affordable and efficient than it is today. So the old days and it cost $1 million to do this, that's all. I can assure you it's nowhere near that. So anybody that wants to come talk to me about it, I can help them. I can save them some money here and there by not making the mistakes I've made. But it's, if you want to run a pro class, heads up with a clutch, whether it's 500 inch or mountain motor, right now it's time to jump in.
Man, I would have to agree. And to me, Mountain Motor Pro Stock is a class that it honestly, out of the door car classes, it seems so much more appealing. It doesn't look like you're tearing up the parts like you would in Pro Nitrous. And yet you are able to go faster than the 500 cubic inch guys. The schedule is spaced out a little bit. You've got options on where you want to run, though I know that has caused issues overall for the class and the cars. But it seems like the best of all the worlds you could ask for, honestly, in the class.
Yeah, I didn't catch the last part, but as far as hurting parts, we have had no engine failure for over 3 years ourselves. Yeah, we get some wear and tear on this and that, and we keep them fresh, but no engine failure whatsoever. Yeah, we haven't had a transmission failure or a clutch failure or a rear end failure either. So that's where you save money and get the costs down when you can, keep your stuff together. I mean, you start tearing stuff up. Your budget just went up. So, everybody's numbers changes, right? So are you counting that you tore something up, or are you counting what it should cost you? And it's, the parts are better now. Everybody's learned more on different things of putting motors together, and it's helped a lot.
All right, JR, my last question for you, and we're going to have to transition and get Mr. Rivenbark on, the winner in Pro Boost. Going to Maple Grove and you having the fastest and quickest Mountain Motor Pro Stock that there is, in fact, because you hold right now the quarter-mile records on both ends of that with what you did in St. Louis last year. Maple Grove.
I'm sorry, James. That all cut out.
Okay. Well, let me try to get through it. So, Maple Grove, next race, you have got the fastest and quickest car there is. Do you think that plays to your advantage, knowing the mystique of Maple Grove being a place where power can be made?
I don't know what the forecast is going to be there. We're looking forward to it. I've been there before in 500 inch. It's boy, if the weather's good, it's going to be fast. So I'm not going to give you any predictions yet. I won't even give them to you once I'm there, because it doesn't matter if you don't get the job done. So it's going to be exciting. I know that area is really, really excited about us being there. I am also all the other guys everybody's been talking about all year, because it's in most of the guys' backyard. So it's going to be a good show. I'm looking forward to it, and everybody come out, and it's going to be good.
Yes, sir, I agree, man. It is going to be a fun time at the Grove. JR, look, thank you for coming on Between the Slicks. Hopefully next time we'll have any of these audio issues worked out, but thank you for working through it and giving us a glimpse into Mountain Motor Pro Stock, Extreme Pro Stock. Congratulations again on your win. Thank you for being on the show.
Hey, thank you. And I'm going to update some equipment here and get some earbuds so my phone will work. So part of it's on me, but I've been traveling today and I just had enough time to even get logged in here. So we'll do a better job next time.
All right. Thank you, JR. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, folks. That was JR Carr, winner in Extreme Pro Stock at the PDRA Summer Shootout. We're going to take a break. Right after the break, the winner in Pro Boost is live on Between the Slicks. Yes, you can now get Monday Morning Racer swag. Shop SpeedShark.com, Team SpeedShark. They can hook you up with Monday Morning Racer apparel. Not only Monday Morning Racer apparel, we're talking about apparel for Johnny Placino, Camry Caruso, Frankie the Madman Taylor, and more to come soon. Check them out at ShopSpeedShark.com or at your next race at the Speed Shark trailer. Kevin!
How we doing?
Man, I'm doing great. Talking drag racing on a Thursday night and got a winner on the show. Congratulations once again on the win, and hope you do. Look, I don't know how y'all are doing it right now in Pro Boost. I don't know how y'all are doing it. I imagine somewhere in the trailer there is like the big bottle of Tums, like the big one, as competitive as it has become in that class. But congratulations. And first of all, I just want to give you the platform. Say thank you to whoever you need to say thank you to, and then we'll dive into the round by round action.
Well, thanks. There's so many involved in our program. Starting out with Mr. and Mrs. Wells of Galot Motorsports owners. This year we've kind of done a transition as we're, instead of running both cars with John and myself, we've added Daniel Ferris driving actually my old car, and I'm driving John's car while he's busy doing tractor pulling. So we've done some changes this year, and Eric at Proline Racing and everybody involved at Proline has really helped us get this program going like that. But it takes people like Proline, Fuel Tech, Hoosier, LAT, NGK. Just M&M Transmissions. I can go on and on. And just the people involved in our program, it helps out tremendously. I've lost you.
Oh, no, that was me. That was me. That was me. That was actually me. Yeah, that was actually on. Yeah, it's on mute. So right now in the world of Pro Mod, across the board, it doesn't matter if it's NHRA, PDRA, it doesn't matter where it's at. The topic of discussion is ProCharger, centrifugal supercharger, and the traditional power adders. Well, explain to everybody why the centrifugal supercharger combination, ProCharger, Vortec, whoever it might be, why that has become so popular in the Pro Mod ranks.
They've been making them for years, and even Stevie Faster ran them years ago. Mark Mickey and quite a few others that you probably don't remember. But in 2019, or actually end of 2018, when Dillard brought out the white car that I drove for the last few years to Texas, and decided they needed another outlet besides turbos to get the program running, that actually evolved it. And in between 18 and 19, we took ownership of the car, and with high expectations, but actually with our fingers crossed, because we didn't know what the program was going to do, and we were taking a big chance. And I felt like I kind of taught Mr. Wells and them in taking a chance with this to keep us racing with the fuel injection and the ProCharger. But I think we came in 2019 and we did so well coming out of the gate that it just took off. I don't want to say we're the prime reason everybody's taking a chance with ProCharger, but me running records and first in the 50s, and the car's been first in the 40s and radials, and just that power out of is to me is just a good choice. It's I've driven both of them, a Roots blower and the ProCharger, and to me the ProCharger seems a little more smoother in transition of power all the way through the run compared to the Roots and screw blowers. It has its issues also, and no other than the Roots blower and screw blowers do. But overall, to me, the size, the heat it produces in the intake, it's a phenomenal piece. You muted again.
I did again. See, well, I'll explain. And most people know this. So I take a drink, and the ice. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to eliminate is the ice sound, which I just did it. So might as well just keep doing it anyway.
That's right.
But now with audio back on, the combination, though it might be fairly new to the Pro Mod world, even though there are a few examples, as you mentioned, in the past, the centrifugal supercharger has been around a long time. When we talk about superchargers on like airplanes, oftentimes that's what they're talking about. So the idea, the principle has been around for a long, long time. Do you feel like right now that there is a competitive edge for you all with the combination? It seems like right now, I mean, Pro Boost, at least PDRA, it's the most competitive class out there.
No doubt it is. I mean, the first year in 2019 when we introduced PDRA, when we came to it, John and myself, the whole top 10 did not seem like they would have a chance to win. But I'd say anybody in the top 16 that qualifies nowadays has a chance to win. At Virginia, I was number 2 with a 3.69 with a 0, and my teammate Daniel was 6 qualifying with a 3.70 with an 8, I believe it was. So I mean, that's how close it is. But the top 16 is right there. Anybody can win. I mean, if you looked at first and second round of Pro Boost at Virginia, there was a lot of upsets. I mean, there was some of them driver fault, some of them performance fault, but anybody can win if they're top 16. I don't really feel like we have a performance advantage. I feel like we're going up and down the track 98% of the time, which is a plus. And then you look at Proline as a whole. We're pulling from 4 cars, you might well say, that's running data that, from run to run to look at each other. So it's community effort. No matter if I'm in the first round and go out and John Camp's in the final round, I mean, we all pretty much share data that, to help each other.
And you mentioned a lot of guys in that last qualifying session went like 71, 70, 69, and then Johnny Camp just blows the scoreboards down and puts it on the field and runs like a 65 or 66, something of that nature. And then you go into race day and you don't know. Everybody's so close. There's so many potential people out there that can get it done. You can't count out James Beedling. You can't count out Melanie Salemi. You can't count out nearly anyone that happens to show up and makes the field. Well, look, before we go any further, Colton Jordan chimes in. He says, "Old River Snake." I got to know about that. What is that a nickname I haven't heard before? River Snake?
Well, my name Rivenbark, it gets pronounced so many different ways. They just come up with all kinds of names for it. So, I mean, actually, Donald Long and some other names he comes up with. It just gets pronounced so many different ways.
All right. Yes, there does seem to be so many different ways to pronounce your last name. That's why I'm trying to stay away from it while we're live.
I was in Bradenton one year, and the announcer in one run pronounced it 3 different ways in one run. So I mean, it gets messed up.
There you go. Well, let's take a look at your round 1 at Virginia Motorsports Park at the PDRA Summer Shootout presented by Tie Drive.
He went a 3.69.0, landed him in the number 2 spot on the qualified order last night. Of course, Chris Skinner has Resolution Racing and Services in his corner over there. They set out in front of qualifying last night. Top of the racetrack, it's going to go to Kevin Rivenbark, so 375 to the 393. Preston left the starting line first, was holding 4th out.
Well, Kevin, I'll begin with you as I did with J.R. Carr. Virginia Motorsports Park was hot. It was hot. The track was hot. It was humid. The air conditions were terrible. Going into round 1, what were you and the team thinking? What were you all hoping for? Was the number put up on the board like, hey, we're satisfied with that, or were you looking for more, or was it better than expected?
No, that's about what we were looking for. Said anywhere from 77 to 75. I mean, track temperatures got up to 150. You didn't want to push it too hard, and I believe it's the second or maybe third time me and Preston's met in the first round, and I think he's going to be a tremendous racer when he gets some seat time and gets some experience under his belt. But we knew, of course, 380s, maybe 390s he was going to run, so we didn't want to push it too hard and take our own selves out. And, I think he got me on the tree. I didn't push it too hard the first round. I just want to make a good A to B run, and I knew we'd come out victorious on that.
All right, we've got Mikey asking about the radials versus big tires, and he asked, what's more fun to drive? What are you preferring right now? I know there's a lot more big tire events, but what do you prefer? What seems more enjoyable when you're behind the wheel?
I'd say overall the big tires, but now the radials are definitely fun. I mean, you can go fast. It's a whole different feeling. Going from big tires to radials, it's a firm feeling. But then when you go back from radials to big tires, it's real soft. Feel like the car is lazy and like it's moving around. It's just a soft feeling. I mean, I can't completely describe it, but overall, the big tires, because I mean, you can't run the radials in the heat. Just like at Virginia, we wouldn't be able to run during the day like we did. So there's no doubt. I love the radials. They're fast. There's no doubt there, and it's something good to go to. But I'd rather do big tires overall.
Well, talking about doing big tires, let's look at round 2 with some big tire action from Virginia Motorsports Park.
Right there at the pedal. Kevin Rivenbark 375, 200 miles an hour. James Beadling at 394.
Well, Kevin, you have the distinct honor with beating James Beadley there that you can say you partially beat a nitrous car with a part of that DeSerbo door on his car over the weekend. So, you know, the boost guys got a little bit over Pro Nitrous here so far. And I tell you what, with me mentioning that, share with me the reaction on the top end with Jim Halsey about your number later on, as we'll see in the final, and his number.
When we got later on in the evening, he was, I think he ran a 367, and he was tickled to death. He's out there pulling his parachutes, putting them together, and he come around and asked me, did I win? I said, yeah. And he said, what'd you run? I said, a 65. He's like, God, Darren. He said, I don't know what we're going to do. He just knew he was going to outrun us at least once that night, but it didn't happen. And I think he's looking at it towards the Pro Stars coming up next weekend, what they got to do to outrun us.
Right, and we're going to see that action between the two classes at the Pro Stars. That's going to be good to see. And, hey, some bragging rights for whoever gets it. They can say until the next one around that they're the top door car in the PDRA in that type of segment. So that's going to be interesting to see who comes away with bragging rights. I'm sure Halsey and Brandon are going to be working their tails off to come away with those bragging rights. But, yeah, round 2, man, the weather is rolling in. You've got tough competition in James Beadling. What's going through your mind other than I hope the bottom don't fall out by the time I get to the top end?
Yeah, that was always a concern. And the air changing, even though it had gotten a little cooler, but it was still real humid and muggy. So we knew we really won't run that fast. And as you said, James Beadling is very capable of winning, running some good numbers. So, but we knew we had to go A to B, and we knew that we need to be a decent number. So we pretty much just tried to tune it up for the air, and left it alone. Besides that, and was hoping I was pretty good on the tree. And we came out. I think he had problems, had to pedal it, but we knew he was capable, very capable of running the numbers.
Well, before we go to the semi-final matchup against your teammate Daniel Ferris, rain comes in to Virginia Motorsports Park, torrential downpour, and we have to push it to Sunday. By this time in PDRA competition, as long as you've been competing there, are you used to just running Sunday by now with as much rain happens to come along with the PDRA?
Yeah, we've always said if farmers had a drought, they wanted rain, just schedule a PDRA race, and it would come with us. So there's been plenty of times that we've had to do things like that, even race on Monday before, the World Finals. So it's nothing unusual or unexpected. So you prepare for it.
In preparing for it, are you an individual that in your psyche that you can hey, we're done for the night. We'll race tomorrow. I'm going to go back into the motorhome and enjoy the rest of the evening? Or is it, oh no, I got to wait till tomorrow? How am I going to sleep knowing I got to go into the semifinals? Where do you land on that? How do you handle those moments?
It don't bother me. Whatever we got to do, it's we race Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, whatever. It don't affect me. Actually, I was kind of hoping for a little better weather the next day. So overall, I kind of glad it did. And I believe we did. Actually, the track seemed better, and the air was a little better.
It was, at least to, I felt, us humans, it was cooler and it was better. It was not as miserable of conditions as it was Friday and Saturday. It definitely did cool off a bit. Speaking of Sunday competition, semifinals, let's take a look at it from the tower of Virginia Motorsports Park. Well, nobody took a dive there, that's for sure. Y'all definitely went heads up, raced it, and you get the whole shot win there and kept it straight and true and in the groove, man. So what a good run there in the semifinals, taking out your teammate Daniel Ferris. Talk to me about Daniel's progression in these cars and what he is like having as a teammate on the premises now at the PDRA events.
He's good. He's been turbo for many years, so the transition to Pro Chargers is, it's pretty easy I wouldn't say easy, but turbo, there's so much you got to do that you feel like you're leaving something out when you go to stage it, like you forgot something to do something, because the Pro Chargers are so much less stress or whatever than the turbo run. But he is coming along with it real well. He's had a rough start, a few races where he went out early or whatever, and then he had to win in Maryland, which he took me out in Maryland on the second round, and which kind of hurt me because John Camp and Weatherford, which was right there with us in points, had already went out, and I could have took advantage of that, but of course my teammate takes me out. So it was his turn for payback.
With having a team car, what are the game plans, if there are any, going into competition? Does the teams like, okay, we want to qualify as high as possible, both cars, or is it, hey, let's make sure that you're on this side of the ladder and we're on this side of the ladder and we can work towards a Galat final round? What does that look like on, let's say, a Thursday test day going into qualifying on Friday?
Well, definitely want to qualify both of them as high as we can, because it's really difficult to try to say, we're going to qualify here, you're going to qualify there, and try to be on the opposite side of the ladder. It's very difficult to do, very difficult. So we just try to qualify them as best as we can and let the chips fall where they are.
All right, last round, Todd Tutterow. Let's take a look at it here on Between the Slicks. Todd, he was coming after you more than one way, definitely in that run. He was in it. He was, lose. Yes, definitely. Yeah, he was in it to win it for sure. And the car got crossed up. He had to get out of it. Man, what a driver he is, though, to save that. We have seen so many this year already in Pro Mod across the board. have a move like that and it gets stuffed in the wall. But you get it. You get it done in Virginia Motorsports Park. The team gets it done. We did have one individual ask, hey, beating someone like King Todd Tutterow, what is that like? And I know I asked you in the interview that's on the video for Monday Morning Racer and the round-by-round action that's on the YouTube channel that the announcers were really playing up rivalry between you and Todd. So we got a little bit more time. Dive into that for folks who might not know and why people even consider a rivalry between yourself and King Tut.
Well, yeah, we've raced together for years as teammates, since 2013 to 2018, I believe it was, or 17. So we kind of know each other's racing habits and weaknesses, you might say, or, good things. So, I mean, I can tell sometimes he's, tries to take advantage of remembering things that, I don't like as if somebody does or whatever. But it is more like a Galot Wahoo rivalry. I wouldn't say it's necessarily Todd Kevin rivalry, but we've raced many times in the finals as teammates and other times, and now we're not teammates and running. So I mean, of course, we both want to beat each other in the worst ways. I mean, we're both really competitive, and we just hate to lose. So he's beat me out in like 2014 for the championship of PDRA, and so I mean, we've had just quite a few years of back and forth running each other.
Well, you get the win. I know the team was elated. I put the photos up earlier this week on the Instagram of who is the crew member that jumped in with the big shades and cigar and decided to sit on Rivenbark's lap for some photos.
Cribbage, Craig Pettis. Yeah, he's my crew chief or car crew chief of my car. He takes care of it, and he works at Proline full time. So he's very emotional about wanting to win, and actually, I believe he's getting ready to fire me if I didn't win one here soon. So it was glad to get a win for him. Him and Proline a lot, just everybody involved. It was just I really needed it for points and for Galot. Daniel won Maryland, and then I won Virginia. So that says a lot to be able to win two races in this competition we got. In 2016, we won every race PDRA had as far as Galot wise, and I mean as far as PDRA and for Galot. But this year, for one person to win one is a tremendous accomplishment.
Yes, sir. Last year Pro Boost obviously was competitive. Going into the last race of the year, there was, mathematical chances for a lot of cars. But right now, Pro Boost still, I don't want to make a call, but I did make a call Virginia Motorsports Park and the summer shootout that you would win. So thank you. I didn't get any money off of it, but I at least did pick one right person. And I try not to look right now, Jim Halsey, to me, that's just too easy. They're doing such a great job over there. Him and Brandon, I went with someone else. Who's not going to pick Jim right now?
That's right.
For the giggles of it, I decided to go with someone else, but obviously Jim won. And then my Mountain Motor Pro Stock, Extreme Pro Stock pick didn't come out like I would have liked either. You mentioned points, and right now you're doing pretty good. It's you on top with 1,894 points. Todd Tutterow, he sits second with 1,684 points. Johnny Camp is third, 1,496 points. And then your teammate, Daniel Ferris, very close in fourth to Johnny with 1,481 points. So it's still a very tight race in the points going into.
Anyway.
Right. Definitely. It is tight. And
our goal is just to go rounds. If we get a win, just like this weekend, if we go rounds, sooner or later we're going to get a win. But you got to go rounds to be in the points, and that's what we're trying to do. And just like Halsey and Pro Nitrous, he's going up and down the racetrack, and that's what we're doing. You can't win unless you go up and down the racetrack, and that's our goal: to go up and down the racetrack and we try to do it at a fast pace, and sometimes it don't work out, and sometimes it does. But we're going up and down the racetrack.
Going up and down the racetrack, certainly, and a new racetrack for PDRA. You all will be going up and down here soon. Maple Grove, Reading, Pennsylvania. Your thoughts on going and racing at the Grove for the first time in PDRA competition?
Yeah, first time I've ever been there. So I mean, it's always good to go to a new track. Just like Norwalk was the first time I've ever actually raced there this year. So I really enjoy going to a track you've never been to. I mean, it's some of the competitors have raced there with Northeast Outlaw Pro Mods or whatever association they race with. So some of them's got advantage and of being there before. But I think we'll adjust quite good, and do our thing.
All right. Last couple of questions here, Kevin. Again, thank you for being on the show. We appreciate it. Pro Mod, we talked earlier, one hot topic, the Pro Charger, the centrifugal supercharger itself. I think the other hot topic right now in Pro Mod is, well, I have people chime in all the time on my videos. Oh, Pro Camaro. It's just nothing but a bunch of Camaros. And look, to their point, you look in the field, there was one Corvette, and then you've got Klein with his beautiful Plymouth. And that was, it. All the rest were late model Camaros or 69 Camaros. So this is what I want to ask you. Why is it the case right now that there are so many Camaros? I have thought that, well, those bodies are already made. You don't have to spend anything else in developing another body. People know the aerodynamics, those type of things. Is that the reason? Does it cost that much more to say, oh, I'm going to do a 49 Mercury and make it aerodynamic and make it competitor or any other type of body out there, like, I don't know, Pontiac Ferrero or what? I don't know. I mean, is it just that much challenging to create a new body and it be cost effective?
Well, I think, the body makers themselves are not coming up with different ones that has a good aerodynamic package for everybody. So, of course, the late model Camaros has definitely got advantage on the aerodynamics, and with the tail end being so low, the trunk area being so low compared to the 69 Camaro. My Corvette I had was 2016, and it was probably 6 inches higher in the back than the 69 Camaro. So I think it's more or less just the aerodynamic package of the 69 Camaro, and definitely the late model Camaro that makes it a choice for everybody. And nobody else is coming up with anything else that could compete with it. If
funds were unlimited, you can work with a body manufacturer, what would be the dream Pro Mod? What would you want? What would just be the coolest ride that Mr. Rivenbark could have out there in competition?
I've always liked Willis. So, I've never drove one. Matter of fact, the one Todd used to have that was so good that the orange and one with the orange and flames on it, that was a pretty car to me. That would be a dream car as a Willis if it would compete to the rest of them.
Yeah, what do you think about his name fails me, but he's got the like gloss gray Willis. He was at Norwalk, and it's got PPG on the side. Yeah, what'd you think of that machine? Good looking car.
Oh, that's pretty, very pretty. He's done a great job on that. Robert from New Mexico. So we hope that, I know it's a long ways away. Maybe he'll be getting to come some PDRA races, but it's a beautiful car, beautiful. But
Definitely
and the Willis is another thing. It's just like the new model Camaros is this way. The 67 Mustang I had, the Willis, all that, you can't see out of it. You got just a very, very slim view out the window of what you're going to see. I got my Corvette the end of 15, I believe it was, and I was in the run for the championship, and you get in that thing, you can see everything. I felt like I could see everybody in the stands picking their nose. Any little thing distracted me. It was terrible. But after I did that, I was like, maybe we shouldn't see so much. But there's some out there is very bad as far as being able to see going up down the track.
Well, man, I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, I've never heard anyone talk about that. And I know for you all as drag racers and anyone in motorsports, you don't want distractions. You want to be able to hit your marks. And in drag racing, you only got one opportunity per race within a race to hit your marks. It's not like running a 50-lap feature. If you mess up one lap, you can try to work back in the next several laps. You've got one lap off of one flash in drag racing to get it done, and you definitely don't want any distractions out there. So, yeah, thanks for the insight, Kevin. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, just like you're saying, hit your marks and Roundtree. I raced at Darlington when they had the patches on there, and you hit your marks by the patches. That was your mark. Some of the patches in the asphalt. So you're not that fortunate in drag racing. You just got a few seconds to get it right.
Hey, speaking of seeing more in a Corvette, Kurt Stedding chimes in. He says, "Yeah, you definitely can." So, yeah, there's someone else to watch out for in Pro Boost competition. That whole entire team over there.
He's a professional.
And Kurt, look, you watch and look. Good to see you back out, and hope everything is 100% with the knee very, very soon. And by the way, love what P2 Contracting does. A lot of great stuff out there. And Kevin, can't pass up the opportunity to, well, I'm gonna let you clue everyone in, if they don't know, what does GALOT actually stand for?
Get a load of this. Mr. Wells started out, big concrete manufacturer, and in concrete you get a load of concrete. So that's how it kind of started, I believe. Is you get a load of this, and then when they brought on a second tractor, it's like get a load of that. So always when you have two cars, two tractors, or whatever, the first one's gonna be get a load of this, and the second one's gonna be get a load of that.
All right. Kurt would like you to know that you look really young in those glasses.
Thank you, Kurt. I need all the help I can get.
Yes.
Since you are younger.
Yeah, there you go.
He reminds me of that. He's crippled, but I'm young. He's younger.
And Melanie Salimi chimes in and says, yes, it is hard to see out of the new Camaros. Melanie, with you chiming in. Right, yeah. Well, what do you think about on the distractions? What are your thoughts on that compared to what you were in Purple Rain? I'm sad it's not out there. I'm sad. And side piece now that is the new Camaro. So, Kevin, we had one individual ask, what about NHRA competition? And we talked about some other cars have shown up this year that predominantly race in the Midwest Drag Racing Series. So anything beyond the radial type racing that will be big tire in another series this year, or is GALOT fully focused on PDRA and that's it this year?
This year, I'd say we're fully focused on PDRA. I love running quarter mile. It takes a lot more to run it, a lot more budget. So to run two cars, I'd say we're pretty satisfied running PDRA this year, and some other races, small tires like Daniel ran the Sweet 16 and stuff, and maybe Shakedown or whatever. But GALOT as a whole is pretty much focused on winning championships somehow or another in PDRA.
Well, Melanie wants to know if she can borrow your glasses next race while she's in her Camaro. So, she can be able to see a bit easier, apparently.
You would probably need it for your lights.
Oh, wow. There. Well, everybody's taking
shots. I'll
tonight.
hear that one. I'll hear from that one.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
We
need to close the show at this point. It might get...
that was my secret for my 005 against Daniel with my glasses.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah, there's the reaction.
Yeah, there you go.
There's the reaction. Oh, thank you for chiming in, Melanie. We love it. Well, look, Kevin, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you for giving us the rundown of the win there for the PDRA Summer Shootout presented by Tie Drive at Virginia Motorsports Park. And look forward to seeing you at the next PDRA event. And I'm looking forward. I know you all might not, because you probably all got heartburn, whether it's from the Italian restaurant from VMP or the competition. But, man, it is exciting to watch Pro Boost right now. It is so exciting. So I do hope you have a good rest of the year. But personally, watching on, I hope it goes down to the final round of the final race.
I agree. It makes it a lot better racing, So I enjoy that a lot better too. I hate to clinch it at next race or something like that, or anybody clinch it, whoever clinches it. But it just makes better racing coming into the World Finals. More exciting.
Definitely. Well, sir, enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you for being on Monday Morning Racers Between the Slicks. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Folks, man, good show tonight. J.R. Carr, winner in Extreme Pro Stock, and Kevin Rivenbark, winner in Pro Boost from the PDRA Summer Shootout. Thank you, each and every one of you, for watching, for chiming in. Do me a favor. Hit the like button, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, that little heart if you're watching on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, retweet. If you're on YouTube, hit the share button to your Facebook. If you're on Facebook, hit the share button. Definitely want to get the word out that we are talking drag racing right here on Between the Slicks. And we're doing it concerning everything from PDRA, NHRA. Nitro Chaos is coming up at Eddyville Raceway Park. I'm going to be there. The Monday Morning Racer will be there. That is coming up. And next week, I do believe I already have the guests lined up. And we're going to be having an interesting discussion with a sponsor in drag racing, a individual that's going to be sponsoring Alex Miladinovich's Funny Car, along with Tim Wilkerson's Funny Car. So you're going to be able to get a inside glimpse into the world of people using drag racing as a marketing platform. I love those conversations. I think they are insightful. So make sure, be right back here, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next Thursday for Between the Slicks with yours truly, the Monday Morning Racer. By the way, right now on the YouTube channel, if you have not seen the action from Virginia Motorsports Park, Extreme Pro Stock Elimination video is out. The Pro Nitrous video is out. The Pro Boost video is out, and 632 will be coming out soon. Definitely go to the YouTube channel and subscribe for me. It's free, and it helps me out a ton. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good rest of your Thursday night, and enjoy your drag racing this weekend wherever you are at. Until next time, I'm the Monday Morning Racer, Lee Craft. God bless, and keep the pedal